Captain Alex Mercer stood on the observation deck of the starship Endeavour, staring out at the vast expanse of stars. For years, humans had explored only the edges of their solar system. Now, thanks to advanced technology and decades of peaceful exploration, they were about to visit Virelia, a distant planet known for its unusual floating cities and an advanced alien civilization. This mission was diplomatic, meant to introduce humans as allies. Alex had prepared every speech, every gesture, every formal bow, or so he thought. "Captain," Lieutenant Kira said, her voice coming over the communicator, "we are approaching the planet. Sensors show a clear atmosphere and no immediate threats." Alex nodded. "Thank you, Kira. Prepare the landing sequence. Let's make sure our first impression counts." Humans had long admired Virelia from afar. Their scholars studied the planet's architecture, music, and traditions. The Virelians were known for being graceful, intelligent, and proud, but very little was known about their emotions. Diplomats advised caution. Any small mistake could create tension. When the Endeavour touched down on the palace's landing platform, Alex felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. The palace itself was magnificent. Towers floated in the air, connected by shimmering bridges of light. Gardens hung in the sky like clouds, filled with glowing flowers. Virelians moved gracefully across these bridges, their clothing shimmering with colors that shifted as they walked. Alex had never seen anything like it. A team of palace guides met the humans. Their leader, a tall alien with silvery skin and large intelligent eyes, spoke in perfect galactic common. "Welcome to Virelia, visitors from Earth. We are honored by your presence." Alex bowed politely. "The honor is ours." The group walked through the palace, its hallways decorated with floating crystals and walls that changed patterns according to the observer's emotions. Alex tried to stay calm, but his eyes kept wandering, amazed at every detail. Finally, they reached the main hall where the council awaited. At the center stood Princess Lyra, the daughter of Virelia's ruler. She was taller than most humans, her skin pale with a slight glow, and her hair flowed like liquid silver. Her eyes, large and deep, seemed to look directly into Alex's mind. The human felt a small shiver of awe. He had studied her image in diplomatic files, but nothing prepared him for the real presence of royalty. As the humans and Virelians bowed to each other, the room held a respectful silence. Alex felt the weight of the moment. This was the first human to set foot in Virelia's palace. Every gesture mattered. Every word mattered. Then something unexpected happened. As Alex stepped forward to greet Princess Lyra formally, a small, nervous smile appeared on his face. "Hey, sweetie," he said, intending a casual tone, hoping to sound friendly. The room froze. The Virelians' large eyes widened slightly. Some gasped softly, others whispered to each other. Alex realized immediately that his choice of words might have been unusual for a formal setting. Princess Lyra's face changed. First, her usual calm expression faltered. Then slowly her cheeks turned a soft, glowing red. She blinked once, then twice, as if trying to process what had just been said. Finally she spoke, her voice quiet but clear. "Yes, darling." Alex froze for a moment, his mind racing. Did she just respond like that? The palace fell silent again, but this time the tension was different. There was curiosity, wonder, and perhaps a tiny hint of amusement in the Virelian's eyes. Then Alex did something surprising. He chuckled, softly at first, then louder. The sound seemed to break a spell. Princess Lyra's lips curved into a small, reluctant smile. Soon she joined in the laughter, her voice light and musical. The room seemed to relax. The Virelians around them exchanged glances, their whispers fading into quiet murmurs. Humans on Alex's team looked stunned, unsure whether to laugh or remain formal. Alex finally regained composure and nodded at Princess Lyra. I guess that counts as our first cultural exchange." Lyra tilted her head slightly, still smiling. "Perhaps. Humans are unpredictable," Alex laughed again. "I think that's one way to describe us." The small, awkward moment had done something remarkable. It had broken the initial tension between two very different species. Where formality might have created distance, humor and a shared chuckle built an unexpected bridge. Alex could feel it. This moment was important. Not for politics, not for ceremony, but for understanding. The rest of the tour went smoothly. Lyra guided Alex and his team through the palace's floating gardens. She explained how the plants absorbed starlight and how the gardens shifted according to seasonal changes. even though Veralia had no seasons like Earth. Alex listened intently, asking questions, joking lightly when he could, careful not to offend. He noticed Lyra's occasional glances at him, soft but observant. He realized that she was as curious about humans as he was about Verelians. Each of them had a chance to see the other's world, not just the facts or the palace, but the small personal moments, a smile, a laugh, a shared gesture. By the time they reached the ceremonial hall, Alex felt a sense of calm confidence. He knew the first meeting, despite its unusual start, had gone well. The palace staff seemed intrigued but not offended, and Princess Lyra, though clearly still shy about the initial exchange, had shown a human trait she would likely come to appreciate: humor. Before the formal reception began, Alex and Lyra shared one last moment in the quiet hall. "You seem different from what I expected," Lyra said quietly. Alex smiled. "And you seem human in some ways." In the best possible sense, Lyra's smile widened just slightly. She studied him for a moment, then nodded. Perhaps this is the start of something interesting. Alex felt a thrill of hope. He knew that their worlds were very different, that politics and customs could be complicated, and that many challenges lay ahead. But at that moment, he also knew that sometimes trust and friendship started with the simplest things: a smile, a laugh, and a few unexpected words. The formal reception began shortly after. Humans and Verelians mingled, exchanging polite greetings and observing each other carefully. Yet Alex kept catching glimpses of Lyra, and each time she gave him a small nod or a quiet smile. It was a subtle signal, but it meant more than words. By the time the day ended, Alex had made an impression, not just on the council, but on Princess Lyra herself. And in a galaxy full of unknown dangers and mysteries, that was perhaps the most important thing of all. As the humans returned to the Endeavor for the night, Alex stood on the deck again, looking at Verelia's glowing towers. He smiled to himself. The first human-alien encounter had been unusual, awkward, and even slightly embarrassing. But it had worked. They had laughed. They had connected. And that small red-faced moment in the palace would be remembered for a long time, by humans and Verelians alike. Alex whispered to himself, almost like a promise, "This is only the beginning." And somewhere on the palace grounds, Princess Lyra looked up at the stars, her cheeks still faintly glowing, and whispered the same thought: "This is only the beginning." The next morning, the Verelian palace shone under twin suns that cast long, colorful reflections across the floating gardens. Captain Alex Mercer and his team were ready to begin the diplomatic sessions with Princess Lyra and the council. Yet, despite the formal agenda, Alex's mind kept wandering back to the awkward, funny moment from the previous day, the "Hey, sweetie" exchange that had left everyone in a mixture of shock and amusement. Alex's thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime at his communicator. "Captain," Lieutenant Kira said, "Princess Lyra requested a private tour of the palace's central library before the meeting." Alex raised his eyebrows. "A private tour?" "Yes, sir. It seems she wants to show you something," Kira replied. Curious, Alex followed the Verelian guide through corridors lined with floating crystals and walls that displayed shifting, holographic scenes. Each step was silent, graceful. The air smelled faintly of starlight blooms, a scent that was at once alien and strangely comforting. When they reached the central library, Alex could hardly believe his eyes. The room was massive, with books that floated in midair and screens that projected 3D images of entire planets. Holographic maps glowed softly, showing intricate networks of stars and civilizations. Princess Lyra stepped forward, her silver hair catching the sunlight. "This is one of my favorite places," she said. "The library contains knowledge of our history, culture, and some human studies you might find amusing." Alex chuckled. "Amusing? Humans studied by aliens?" Lyra's eyes twinkled. "Yes. There are even reports on your customs and behaviors. Some are curious." Alex leaned closer to a holographic display showing humans exploring Earth's oceans. "This is incredible." "You know so much about us," Lyra nodded. "And now you will know more about us. Perhaps we can learn from each other." As they walked, she guided Alex to a section filled with small, glowing devices. "These are our communication tools," she explained. "We use them to interact across distances without relying on sound alone. Humans are limited in that way. Alex picked up one device and studied it. It's beautiful and practical. Humans are good at improvising when technology isn't enough. You might find that interesting. Lyra raised an eyebrow. You claim humans are adaptable? Alex smiled. We have to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. The conversation shifted naturally from formal explanations to playful banter. Alex demonstrated a simple human game using his communicator and some holographic shapes. Lyra watched, intrigued, and soon joined him. They laughed as they competed, their small rivalry playful and lighthearted. For a moment, the palace felt less like a formal institution and more like a space of discovery. The laughter between human and alien echoed softly among the floating shelves. Some librarians paused their work to observe the unusual sight. A human and a Varelian princess enjoying a simple game, forgetting rank and tradition. After the game, Lyra guided Alex to a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. The glowing flowers swayed gently, responding to the wind and the twin suns. These gardens change according to the mood of the visitors, she explained. Notice how the colors shift when you laugh? Alex looked carefully. Indeed, the flowers glowed brighter as he chuckled. That's amazing. Your entire planet seems alive in a way humans rarely experience. Lyra smiled softly. Perhaps that is why we are cautious. We value control and balance. Yet moments like these remind us that emotion can be a guide, not a weakness. Alex nodded. I think humans are the same. Sometimes we rely too much on logic, but laughter, friendship, and trust, they can guide us as well. The bond between them deepened subtly with every shared moment. They spoke of human traditions, holidays, and stories from Earth. Lyra shared tales of Varelia's history, from ancient philosophers who mapped the stars to artisans who sculpted floating bridges. Alex noticed that she was not only intelligent but also curious, willing to question assumptions and explore new ideas. As they walked back inside, Lyra paused. Captain Mercer, there is something I would like to show you. A test, if you like. Humans are said to be courageous, but are you patient? Observant, willing to take risks for knowledge? Alex raised his eyebrows. A test? Lyra nodded. She led him to a small chamber filled with strange devices and glowing panels. You see these? They simulate situations, not dangerous but challenging. You must solve a puzzle to unlock a hidden projection of Varelia's most treasured artifacts. Alex studied the devices. All right, let's do this. The simulation began. Panels shifted, symbols rotated in midair, and holographic obstacles appeared. Alex focused, applying human ingenuity. He tried different combinations, tested patterns, and observed how each reaction affected the system. Lyra watched silently, her eyes studying his approach. After several minutes, Alex activated the final panel, unlocking a small projection of ancient Varelian artifacts. A display of intricate statues, star maps, and ceremonial objects. Lyra's face lit up with genuine delight. You solved it, she exclaimed. Humans truly are remarkable. You use creativity, logic, and intuition all at once. Alex grinned. Thank you. But I have to admit, I had a great teacher. Lyra tilted her head, curious. Teacher? You, Alex said, smiling. You guided me without giving direct answers. That's something humans respect. Learning through observation and guidance. Lyra considered this, then nodded slowly. Perhaps we can learn much from each other. Their day continued with small lessons in both directions. Alex showed Lyra a human technique for creating fire safely using energy modules, while Lyra demonstrated a floating instrument that played music through shifting light patterns rather than sound. Each demonstration sparked laughter, amazement, and questions. During a break, they sat by one of the palace's reflective pools. The twin suns mirrored in the water, creating a dazzling display of colors. Lyra gazed into the reflection. I admit humans are unpredictable, she said softly. Alex chuckled. And I admit Varelians are more fascinating than I imagined. You've got elegance, intelligence, and a sense of humor hidden beneath that royal composure. Lyra's cheeks glowed faintly, a soft reminder of their first encounter. Perhaps unpredictability is valuable, she said quietly. It teaches caution but also wonder. Alex nodded. Exactly. And I think we both have something to teach each other. Humor, patience, creativity, and courage. As the day ended, they returned to the palace's observation deck. The stars appeared brighter against Varelia's twin night skies. Alex looked at Lyra and she looked back at him. No words were needed. They understood that their connection was growing beyond formalities. It was trust, curiosity, and a hint of friendship. The humans retired to the Endeavor that evening, but Alex stayed on the deck for a while longer, looking at the floating lights of the palace gardens. He felt a sense of hope. If humans and Varelians could find understanding through laughter, curiosity, and shared effort, perhaps the future held more than diplomacy. It could hold friendship and unity across worlds. Meanwhile, in the palace, Lyra lingered in the library, reviewing the data from their day. She smiled faintly, thinking of Alex's laughter, his patience, and his willingness to engage fully with her world. Perhaps humans were not only clever, but resilient in ways that could surprise even the most cautious alien. For both of them, the day ended with the promise of more. More shared discoveries, more laughter, and the slow, steady building of trust between two species that, until now, had only glimpsed each other from afar. And in the quiet of the Varelian night, the palace seemed to hum with life, as if acknowledging that a small spark had been lit, a spark that might one day bridge the gap between humans and Varelians, not through politics alone, but through curiosity, courage, and the simplest human gift of all, friendship. The morning sun rose over Virelia's floating gardens, casting soft, glowing reflections across the palace corridors. Captain Alex Mercer woke early aboard the Endeavor, his mind replaying the events of the previous days. The bond he had begun forming with Princess Lyra seemed to strengthen with each moment, yet he knew that diplomacy was delicate. Even the smallest misstep could create tension between humans and Varelians. "Captain," Lieutenant Kira called over the communicator, "the palace security team reports unusual readings in the lower levels. It looks like some kind of unauthorized energy signature." Alex frowned. "Unauthorized? On the day of diplomatic meetings?" "Yes, sir. It could be nothing, but they recommend caution." Alex nodded. "Keep monitoring it. I'll inform Princess Lyra." When he arrived at the palace, Lyra was already waiting in the garden balcony. Her silver hair glimmered in the morning light, and her eyes were serious, an unusual expression for the normally composed princess. "Alex," she said quietly, "there have been rumors. Some in the council do not trust humans. A small faction believes your presence here is a threat." Alex raised an eyebrow. "A threat to whom?" Lyra sighed. "To Varelia. They fear change, new ideas, and contact with your species. Some are extreme." Alex considered this carefully. "Then we need to be careful, but we cannot let fear guide us. We've already started building trust through cooperation and understanding. That must continue." Lyra nodded, though a shadow of concern crossed her face. "Agreed, but caution is necessary. Follow me." She led Alex and his team to a secure hallway that connected several palace sectors. "We have sensors here that can detect unauthorized energy use. The readings from this morning suggest someone tried to access sensitive areas, possibly to disrupt our meetings or steal information." Alex studied the data. "It's subtle. Whoever did this knows the palace systems well. We need to find them before they cause real trouble." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "I will alert the palace guards. You and your humans should be ready to assist if needed." The first hours of the day passed with tense vigilance. Alex and Lyra continued their tour of the palace, but their conversations were now layered with strategy. While still light-hearted at moments, they remained aware that someone was attempting to undermine trust between humans and Varelians. During a pause in the gardens, Lyra spoke quietly. "Alex, there is a banquet tonight for the council. The extremists may act then." "You must be prepared," Alex nodded. "We will handle it. But we need more than force. Humans have a saying, knowledge is power." Lyra tilted her head. "Yes, but courage is equally important. Sometimes we must act before knowledge is complete. Can your species do that?" Alex smiled faintly. "We can and we will, especially when lives are at stake." As the afternoon approached, Alex was briefed by the palace security team. Surveillance indicated a group moving stealthily in the lower sectors, attempting to bypass sensors. They were skilled, cautious, and clearly aiming to avoid detection. Lyra joined him at the security control room. "We cannot let them reach the council chamber. If the extremists disrupt the banquet, it will be seen as a direct insult from humans." Alex studied the security displays. "We need to use both human tactics and your knowledge of the palace. Let's think like them. Where would someone go if their goal is sabotage? Lyra pointed to a network of maintenance tunnels that ran beneath the palace. They would likely take these passages. Guards cannot reach them quickly there. But you can if you move strategically. Alex nodded. Then let's split up. Lyra, you guide the palace team. My humans and I will go through the tunnels and intercept them. They moved quickly, descending into the dimly lit corridors below the palace. The air was cooler here, carrying the faint hum of the palace's energy systems. Alex felt the thrill of being in unfamiliar territory, combining human ingenuity with Virelian guidance. As they navigated the tunnels, Alex observed the small markers of the intruder's presence, scorch marks on panels, faint traces of energy manipulation. They are clever, he said quietly. Lyra's expression was focused. But humans are unpredictable. That is often an advantage. You do not follow expected paths. That can be useful here, Alex smiled. Then let's use it. They continued carefully, advancing through the labyrinthine tunnels. Suddenly, a panel lit up ahead, signaling the presence of the intruders. Alex motioned for his team to halt. We found them. Move quietly. Wait for my signal. Through a small opening, Alex and his team observed 3 figures attempting to hack into a control panel. Their movements were precise, but Alex noticed subtle flaws. Slight hesitation, a lack of familiarity with the palace's energy field calibrations. Lyra whispered, "You see? Humans and Virelians together can notice things that extremists miss." Alex nodded. "Exactly. Now let's act." Using a combination of human improvisation and Virelian technology, Alex's team deployed small energy nets that immobilized the intruders without causing harm. The extremists struggled, but the traps held firm. Lyra's palace guards arrived shortly after, securing the area. The extremists were captured, their plan to disrupt the banquet foiled. Breathing heavily, Alex turned to Lyra. "Crisis averted, thanks to your guidance and our teamwork." Lyra smiled faintly, still catching her breath. "Yes, teamwork. Humans are courageous, just as you promised. You adapted quickly, even in unfamiliar surroundings." Alex shrugged modestly. "Humans have to be adaptable. It's part of our nature. And having a partner who understands the environment makes all the difference." Lyra's cheeks flushed slightly, a soft, glowing reminder of their earlier encounters. "Perhaps humans are not only clever, but also trustworthy." Alex grinned. "I'll take that as a compliment." Later, during the council banquet, the atmosphere was tense at first. The extremists' actions had raised concerns, but the successful prevention of their plan brought relief. Alex and Lyra's coordinated response became an unspoken symbol of what humans and Virelians could achieve together. Throughout the evening, Alex noticed small gestures of respect from council members who had initially been skeptical. Even subtle glances of approval indicated that their trust in humans was beginning to grow. At one point, Lyra leaned slightly toward Alex. "You see, humor and courage are not the only things humans offer. Adaptability is valued here as well." Alex smiled. "And courage combined with knowledge can solve problems that seem impossible." Lyra nodded. "Perhaps we can learn much from each other, not just as allies, but as friends." As the banquet concluded, Alex and Lyra walked together along the palace balcony, overlooking the gardens. The twin moons reflected softly on the floating flowers, casting gentle, shimmering lights. "Alex," Lyra said softly, "today showed me that humans are not only different, but capable of inspiring trust in ways I had not imagined. Humor, courage, adaptability, these qualities are remarkable." Alex chuckled. "I think that's the human way. We don't always follow tradition perfectly, but we try to protect, adapt, and connect. And sometimes laughter helps more than speeches ever could." Lyra smiled, a genuine warmth in her eyes. "You are right. Perhaps unpredictability is valuable. It teaches caution, yes, but also wonder." Alex nodded. "Exactly. And today we proved that cooperation works. Even across worlds, humans and Virelians can face challenges together and succeed." As the night settled over Virelia, the palace seemed calm, yet the bond between Alex and Lyra had grown stronger. They had faced danger, navigated uncertainty, and discovered that trust, built through courage, patience, and shared effort, was the foundation of true friendship. For both of them, the day ended with quiet satisfaction. Alex returned to the endeavor, confident that humans had proven themselves capable allies. Lyra lingered in the palace, reflecting on the unexpected resilience and creativity of the human captain. Both understood that this was only the beginning of a partnership that could change the future of their worlds. And in the soft glow of Virelia's twin moons, a small spark of hope glimmered, a spark that promised collaboration, understanding, and the courage to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together. The morning on Virelia was calm, the twin suns casting a soft golden light over the floating gardens. Captain Alex Mercer stood on the palace balcony, looking out at the endless expanse of the sky. The events of the previous days, the laughter, the games, and the confrontation with the extremists, had strengthened the bond between humans and Virelians. Yet Alex knew that trust could not be built on small victories alone. He needed to show the Council that humans were not only courageous and clever, but also dependable in times of real crisis. Captain Mercer, Lieutenant Kira's voice came over the communicator. The Palace Council has requested a demonstration of human problem-solving. There is a natural event threatening Virelia's floating gardens. The Council wants to see how humans would respond. Alex frowned. What kind of event? Kira paused. A solar storm is approaching. It could disrupt the energy fields that keep the gardens floating. Some sections may collapse if not reinforced. Alex's mind raced. Understood. Prepare the team. We leave immediately. He met Princess Lyra in the palace's control chamber. Her normally calm face was set in a determined expression. Alex, this is serious. If the gardens fail, lives could be lost. You will need to combine human ingenuity with our technology. Alex nodded. We will do everything we can. The team moved quickly, boarding a small craft designed to hover above the palace gardens. The gardens themselves were breathtaking, an intricate network of floating islands connected by glowing bridges and cascading streams. The energy fields that kept them aloft shimmered like invisible threads in the sunlight. Lyra guided Alex to the first vulnerable section. This field is weakest here. You will need to reinforce it using energy stabilizers, but the storm will disrupt standard procedures. Alex studied the controls. We'll need to improvise. Kira, distribute the portable human stabilizers. We'll adapt them to interface with Virelia's energy network. The team worked with precision, humans and Virelians side by side. Alex demonstrated how to combine human technology with Virelian energy conduits, using clever shortcuts and patterns that minimized exposure to the incoming storm. Lyra observed, her eyes wide with admiration. You are remarkable, she said quietly. Humans can think and act in ways that are unexpected but effective. Alex smiled, focusing on the task. Sometimes unpredictability is an advantage. We see patterns others might miss, and we act quickly when needed. As the solar storm approached, the sky darkened, streaked with electric blue and violet light. Gusts of charged wind began to ripple across the floating gardens. Alex's team worked rapidly, placing energy stabilizers and reinforcing the field lines. Each section required careful attention or the gardens could collapse. A sudden surge hit one of the bridges, sending a ripple through the energy field. A portion of the garden began to tilt dangerously. Alex acted instantly, combining human control logic with Virelian energy modulation. He adjusted the stabilizers using a technique that relied on timing, observation, and intuition. Slowly, the garden leveled again, the bridge steady once more. Lyra's eyes widened in surprise and admiration. I did not expect you to adapt so quickly. Your actions saved this section. Alex nodded, though his focus never wavered. We are not finished. The storm will reach the next section soon. Keep alert. The team moved swiftly from section to section. Humans used portable energy tools, improvising ways to interface with Virelian systems. Virelians guided them, providing knowledge of the palace's infrastructure. Every success boosted morale, and even under the storm's pressure, small smiles and brief laughs occasionally surfaced. Humor, Alex realized, helped everyone maintain focus. At one point, a large floating island began to drift away from its normal position. Alex assessed the situation. If we can't stabilize it manually, it will crash. Lyra hesitated. It is too large for manual control alone. You will need to improvise further. Alex glanced at the surrounding islands and energy conduits. He noticed a pattern in the way the energy fields interacted. We can use the neighboring islands' fields to create a chain reaction. It's risky, but it might hold it in place. Lyra looked concerned. A human risk. Bold but dangerous, Alex nodded. Sometimes boldness is necessary. We calculate, but we act. That is the human way. Working together, Alex and his team coordinated the stabilizers, linking the energy conduits to create a temporary chain reaction. The drifting island slowed, then stabilized, levitating steadily in its proper position. Lyra's face lit up with awe. "You did it," she exclaimed. "Humans are more resourceful than I imagined." Alex smiled, catching his breath. "We adapt. That is how we survive, how we thrive. And when we combine our strengths with yours, there is no challenge too great." The storm passed gradually, leaving the floating gardens intact. The sun's rays returned, glimmering on the energy fields and reflecting off the cascading water streams. The team cheered softly, proud of their accomplishment, but aware that the demonstration had more meaning than just a technical success. Back in the palace control chamber, the council gathered to observe the results. They nodded in approval, their expressions a mixture of surprise and respect. Alex stood beside Lyra, who gave him a small, approving smile. "Captain Mercer," a council member said, "you have shown not only courage but ingenuity, adaptability, and cooperation. Humans are indeed capable allies. Today, your actions prove that your species can face unexpected challenges with creativity and determination." Alex bowed slightly. "Thank you. Humans value courage, knowledge, and teamwork. We have much to learn from each other, but together we can achieve great things." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "I am proud to have observed this. Your species has qualities that can inspire trust and friendship. Humor, courage, adaptability, these traits are invaluable." Alex chuckled softly. "And sometimes laughter helps more than any technical solution. It keeps the mind focused and the heart willing." Lyra's cheeks glowed faintly, a soft echo of their first encounter. "Yes, perhaps laughter is also a bridge between worlds." As the council meeting ended, Alex and Lyra walked through the palace gardens. The twin suns reflected on the shimmering bridges and glowing flowers. For a moment everything felt peaceful, yet both understood that their journey had just begun. "Alex," Lyra said quietly, "today, you proved humanity's worth not only to the council but to me. Your actions showed that humans are capable of trust, courage, and ingenuity." Alex smiled. "Thank you, Lyra. And your guidance, knowledge, and patience made this possible. We learn from each other, and that is how trust grows." Lyra looked thoughtful. "Perhaps this is the start of a deeper alliance. Not only between humans and Virelians, but between our ideas, cultures, and hearts." Alex nodded. "Exactly. And I think this is only the beginning. Together we can face any challenge the universe sends our way." That evening, as the twin moons rose over the floating gardens, Alex and Lyra shared a quiet moment on the balcony. The wind stirred gently, carrying the scent of glowing flowers and the hum of energy fields. They looked at each other and laughed softly, recalling the awkward first greeting, the "hey sweetie" moment that had started it all. "Yes, darling," Lyra said with a soft smile. "We both chuckled then and we laugh now. Perhaps laughter is truly universal." Alex chuckled. "I think it is. And courage, curiosity, and trust, those are universal too. That is what makes humans human." Lyra nodded. "And perhaps that is why we will succeed together. Across worlds, laughter and courage can guide us." As the night settled over Virelia, Alex felt a deep sense of hope. Humans had shown that they were not just explorers or diplomats. They were capable of protecting lives, solving problems creatively, and inspiring trust across species. The HFY spirit, the essence of human resilience and ingenuity, had shone brightly. Lyra, gazing at the stars, reflected on the unexpected joy and wonder that humans brought to Virelia. She had seen courage, humor, and adaptability firsthand. She understood that the bond they were building was more than diplomatic. It was a connection between two worlds, built on respect, trust, and laughter. And in that moment, high above the floating gardens with twin moons glowing softly, both human and Virelian knew that together, they could face anything. The future was uncertain, yes, but full of promise, and that promise was built on courage, curiosity, and the simple act of working together. The day dawned bright over Virelia, the twin suns casting golden light over the floating gardens and shimmering bridges. Captain Alex Mercer awoke aboard the Endeavour with a sense of anticipation. Today, the Council would make their final decision about the human-Virelian alliance. After days of diplomacy, laughter, danger, and cooperation, This was the moment that could define the future of both species. Lieutenant Kira's voice came over the communicator. "Captain, the Council has requested your presence in the main hall. All preparations for the ceremony are complete." Alex nodded, taking a deep breath. "Understood. Let's make this memorable, for the right reasons." When he entered the main hall, he was struck by the grandeur of the setting. Floating platforms carried dignitaries from every part of Virelia, and holographic displays illuminated the walls with images of the planet's history and achievements. At the center, Princess Lyra waited, her silver hair glowing softly in the morning light. Her eyes met Alex's, and for a brief moment all the formalities faded. There was only trust, friendship, and a shared journey that had brought them here. The council members began their addresses, praising the humans for their courage, creativity, and teamwork during the solar storm. They spoke of how Alex and his team had proven themselves capable of saving lives and protecting the planet's most treasured sites. One by one, the elders acknowledged that humans were not merely visitors. They were potential partners, allies in facing the challenges of the galaxy. Alex listened quietly, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. He knew that humans had qualities that could inspire hope, yet he also understood that trust had to be maintained through action, not words alone. When the formal part of the ceremony concluded, Princess Lyra stepped forward. Her normally composed demeanor softened into a warm smile. "Captain Mercer," she said, "you and your team have shown us that humans possess courage, ingenuity, and a capacity for friendship that transcends worlds. Your actions have inspired trust and laughter alike. For this we are grateful." Alex stepped forward, bowing respectfully. "Thank you, Princess Lyra. Humans value connection, understanding, and cooperation. We may be from different worlds, but we share the same desire for peace, curiosity, and hope." Lyra's eyes sparkled with amusement. "And humor," she added softly, recalling the very first moment they had met. Alex laughed. "Yes, humor. Sometimes laughter is the shortest path to understanding." The two shared a brief chuckle, a private echo of the awkward and playful words that had begun their connection. "Hey, sweetie." "Yes, darling." The moment reminded them that even amidst diplomacy and danger, laughter had a unique power to bridge gaps between species. After the ceremony, Alex and Lyra walked together through the palace gardens. The twin suns illuminated the floating flowers, casting soft reflections on the streams and bridges. Citizens and visitors alike paused to watch, smiling at the sight of human and Virelian walking side by side, laughing and sharing quiet conversation. "You know," Alex said, glancing at Lyra, "I never expected diplomacy to be so personal." Lyra tilted her head, a playful smile on her face. "And I never expected a human to greet me so casually in my palace. But perhaps that was the start of something important." Alex grinned. "I think it was. One small awkward moment. And here we are." Lyra's cheeks glowed faintly, the familiar red that had appeared during their first exchange. "Yes. And perhaps that moment reminded us that trust and connection can start anywhere, even with humor." As they continued walking, they approached a section of the gardens where young Virelian students practiced learning games, combining logic, music, and energy manipulation. Alex stopped, watching the children play. "Your education system is incredible," he said. "It teaches creativity, observation, and teamwork. Humans can learn much from this." Lyra nodded. "And humans have their own ways of teaching and learning. I have seen creativity, courage, and adaptability in your species. Perhaps our students could learn from each other one day." Alex smiled. "I think they would. Imagine the stories, the discoveries, the laughter." As the afternoon progressed, Lyra suggested a private demonstration for Alex. "There is one last thing I wish to show you," she said. "Something special, beyond diplomacy and ceremony." She led him to a chamber high above the palace, overlooking the entire floating city. Here, the energy fields shimmered in intricate patterns, creating a living tapestry of light and movement. "This," Lyra said softly, "is the heart of Virelia. It responds to emotion and intention. Only those with understanding and empathy can influence it." Alex stepped forward, amazed. The colors shifted as he moved, glowing brighter with curiosity and calm focus. Lyra extended her hand. "Together, let us interact with it." Alex placed his hand alongside hers on a crystal console. The colors around them swirled in vibrant waves, responding to their combined presence. Laughter, wonder, and mutual respect flowed through the chamber, and the heart of Viralia glowed brighter than ever. "It is beautiful," Alex whispered. Lyra smiled. "Yes, and it reminds us that connection between humans, Virelians, and even our worlds creates strength. Courage, humor, and trust. These are not limited to one species. They are universal," Alex nodded. "And that is what makes humans human. We adapt, we create, we care, and yes, we laugh." Lyra's eyes twinkled. "And that laughter, it matters more than words. Today it bridges worlds." As evening approached, the palace filled with soft light reflecting on the gardens and energy fields, Alex and Lyra returned to the balcony, gazing at the twin moons rising over the floating city. For a moment they simply stood in silence, savoring the peace and hope of the moment. Then Alex broke the silence with a smile. "You know, I think we should end this journey the way it began." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "And how would that be?" Alex grinned. "With a little humor. Ready?" Lyra laughed softly, sensing the playfulness in his tone. "I am always ready." Alex leaned slightly toward her and said, "Hey, sweetie." Lyra's cheeks glowed immediately, just as they had on that first day. Then with a soft melodic laugh she answered, "Yes, darling." They both chuckled, the sound carrying across the palace gardens. For the council members and citizens who observed from a distance, it was a moment of joy, warmth, and connection. For Alex and Lyra, it was a reminder that even in the vastness of space, between entirely different worlds, laughter, trust, and friendship could unite hearts. The ceremony concluded with a final gesture of unity. Alex and Lyra addressed the gathered humans and Virelians together, emphasizing cooperation, understanding, and shared hope for the future. Their words inspired smiles, applause, and an unmistakable sense of optimism. As night fully descended, the floating garden shimmered under the twin moons. Alex and Lyra walked together one last time through the palace, reflecting on their journey. They had faced tension, danger, and skepticism, but also shared laughter, discovery, and trust. "Alex," Lyra said softly, "I believe this is only the beginning. Our worlds, our people, there is much to learn and much to share." Alex nodded. "Yes, and whatever comes next, humans will face it with courage, curiosity, and laughter. Together we can achieve anything." Lyra smiled, her cheeks glowing faintly once more. "Yes, darling. Together." And with that they stood side by side, gazing at the horizon, the twin moons casting soft light across the floating city. The moment was peaceful yet full of promise. Across worlds, two species had discovered that understanding, laughter, and courage could build bridges stronger than any politics or ceremony. In the quiet of Virelia's night, the palace hummed softly, acknowledging the bond formed between humans and Virelians. Alex and Lyra's laughter echoed in memory, a symbol of hope, friendship, and the enduring human spirit. And somewhere in the stars above, the galaxy seemed just a little smaller, just a little warmer, because two worlds had chosen trust, cooperation, and joy over fear and suspicion. The story of their alliance and the laughter that began it would be remembered for generations, a testament to the power of humans, the value of empathy, and the magic of shared curiosity and courage. For Alex and Lyra, for humans and Virelians, the future was bright, and it began with a simple laugh, a shared word, and a bond that no distance in the universe could break.